But I do want to talk about the one big story in the NFL, so let's close out on this story here. So the big breaking news that literally came out of nowhere yesterday was that the NFL has suspended Falcons wide receiver Calvin Ridley for the entire year, folks, for the entire 2022 season for betting on NFL games during last season. So Calvin Ridley, I mean, he was a huge name already in this offseason, and it's only been 2 weeks. Everybody wanted to trade for him. He didn't want to play with the Falcons last season. Claimed mental health reasons. I don't think we know 100% why, but that's what he claimed it was. It was mental health. He couldn't play for the Falcons last season. But his name came around this offseason. Hey, maybe they can trade for him. Maybe he just didn't want to be in Atlanta anymore, all of that. So a lot of teams were kind of, ready to risk a little bit of picks and a little bit of trades to go out and get Calvin Ridley. But they're going to have to kind of wait for another year because he's suspended for this entire upcoming season because he bet on games here. And we've got some information on the bets here. Calvin Ridley's bets came over a 5-day period in November. It couldn't find any evidence of Ridley using any inside info on his bets, which is very good. It also found no evidence that Ridley's coaches and teammates in Atlanta knew he was betting, so that's another good positive thing. And then the last thing we can read here, Ridley can apply for reinstatement on February 15th, 2023. So this entire year out of the question. He can appeal it. He's got 3 days to appeal, so we'll see if he does appeal. Going to be a little bit hard to appeal because he goes to Twitter after the story breaks and says this: I bet $1,500 total. I don't have a gambling problem. So he admitted to it. Going to be a little hard to kind of appeal it. You can't appeal and be like, no, I did bet. I don't have a gambling problem though. Well, that's not what the case is. That's not what the issue is. The issue that is that you are an NFL athlete, a professional NFL athlete betting on professional NFL games. You can't do that, folks. And regardless of what your stance is, a lot of people are defending Calvin Ridley, and I understand why to defend him. I get it, but I don't agree with it, folks. At all. This cannot happen. We cannot have players betting on the game, even if it is for their own team, even if they're not betting on an outcome that they cannot control. It's too close to the situation, folks. We truly have to realize that this is a sport, folks. This is competition, and it's hard for competition to not be corrupt. And so far, there's nothing publicly, and I know we can't really take that for granted, folks. I know, most of us grew up, with the NFL established already, so we can't take it for granted that this is a little bit of an institution that has been here for a while, is still progressing to today. And we all love sports and we love competition. And this is the highest level of football that there is, at the highest level for a long time. That is, for the most part, it's pretty not corrupt. I don't know if there's really anything corrupt that we can say about it. Yes, we cannot like the overall punishments handed out. There's a couple of reasons why they're defending Calvin Ridley, and we're going to get to those in a minute. But, there's really nothing big-time corrupt. There's no big stories of, refs, being paid. Yes, we all have the kind of, conspiracy, the thought of, hey, though this is rigged, but there's no concrete information. And until there's concrete information, we kind of have to say, all right, it's not happening. There is no corruption here. So this is just too close. And that's really what it comes down to at the end of the day. It doesn't matter that Calvin Ridley wasn't playing and had no influence. It was still betting on his own team. That's really there's really no who cares? That has nothing to do with it. It's too close, folks. This is competition. This is a little bit of an institution, a little bit. The NFL, this sport, and if there's even one concrete example of some sort of corruption, it ruins the entire history. It ruins the entire future of the NFL, from just the watching aspect, from the competition aspect, and then obviously to the betting aspect, the revenue aspect. It just all collapses. So you must nip it in this in the butt. You cannot have, players. You can't just be like, all right, players, you can't bet on your own team, but you can bet everywhere else, because then that's going to get fuzzy as well, and it's going to be a slippery slope. So we cannot have any form of betting by anybody associated with any sports teams, folks. Anybody in just kind of the office, the day-to-day operations, nobody, office member of teams, they cannot bet on games. Players, coaches, nobody, owners should be allowed to bet on games. If you're too close to the sport, you should not be allowed to bet on games, folks. I do think that, athletes in the NFL should be able to bet on NBA and maybe hockey. I still don't love that 100%. I really don't think that if you're a professional athlete that you should be betting on any games, because you do have connections, and, maybe you just goof. Hey, Calvin Ridley calls up, maybe he's friends with Joel Embiid. I don't know, but maybe he is. Or Trae Young. Let's go Atlanta. Let's keep the Atlanta connection. Calvin Ridley calls up Trae Young and be like, hey, Trae, I've got, 50 grand on you not scoring more than 30 points, so help me out. Maybe just in a joking tone, buddy, they're friends. All right, they're laughing it up. Trae Young's really not kind of thinking about it. It was just he just said it was something funny. It was goofy. They're friends. They hang out, so they said it. And then that night, Trae Young, he's at, let's say, 26 points, a minute left. Maybe not competitive game and all that. And Trae Young, maybe he's at 29 at the free throw line, ready to go for 30, ready to ruin Calvin Ridley's $50,000 bet between professionally, but they are friends. So Trae Young's like, we've got this game wrapped up. We're good. It's just a free throw. 30 seconds left. Oh, I miss. It's just, I'm telling you, folks, it's just a little bit of a slippery slope. And we're talking about, the people here. The people want to bet. It's fun. It's a little bit of a hobby. It's an addiction as well. That's a different thing. But we love watching football. We don't want any sort of, is this fake now? We know exactly like wrestling. I think it hurts a lot of people when you find out that wrestling is fake. It's a little, it's fixed. It's stunt. It's practice. They're working. It's a performance overall. And it just ruins the overall experience of WWE or whatever wrestling you're watching. It's still entertaining, and there are still people that buy into it and still watch it religiously and all of that, and I've got no problem with that. But overall, it just ruins that. It ruins it, knowing that it's not 100% real. And if we're watching just kind of predetermined sports, the hell is that? I watch sports for the competition. Really, that's the only reason why I watch sports at all. I love the competition. I am obsessed with the competition. So if you're telling me the competition's fake, I'm not watching any sports. I'm done with all the sports. So I just think it's a real slippery slope to allow players in the NFL to bet on the game. So that's why we have to nip it in the bud here. And I hate, so Roger Goodell suspends him for a year, and I hate everything going around. I hate this, like, to my core. I hate it how everybody loves to kind of make they say, hey, I'm oh my goodness, there is breaking news, folks. Oh my goodness, I just read the trending topics, and there is breaking news, folks. Is this right? Oh my God, Aaron Rodgers is officially returning back to the Green Bay Packers. Wow, all that fuss over just staying, right? Here we go. They've agreed on a 4-year, $200 million deal with $153 million guaranteed. Sheesh. Fantastic. Truly deserved. Absolutely deserved that money. But wasn't Aaron saying, oh no, I don't want to be the highest paid. Oh, that's absolute categorically false. Remember those words, categorically false, folks. I think we're going to circle back to that. Man, oh man, is this 50 minutes ago? Damn, all right, so kind of breaking. Basically, right when we went live, it broke. Classic that. Man, oh man. Hang on. According to the Pat McAfee show, the that was reported 4 years, $200 million with $153 million guaranteed is not true? Is that right? All right, well, I don't got time to decipher all this information. We got to get out of here, but I still want to continue on with this Calvin Ridley story. So once again, it's just a slippery slope to allow professional athletes that can influence the game, either, single-handedly by themselves, or maybe just kind of, in passing with the friend athlete and all that. So gotta nip it in the bud. And once again, everybody's saying, oh, they're making an example out of Calvin Ridley for suspending him a year. I hate, using somebody specifically as an example. I just think it's unfair overall. If people are committing the same crime, or, the same, it's not a crime to do this, but the same crime. We'll use the crime. If two people are doing the same crime, folks, no, just because the first person to do the crime, you want to make an example, they get the worst punishment. I absolutely hate that. In every sort of the case there. But I do think that the betting should carry a big long suspension, a year suspension. I don't think this is making an example out of Calvin Ridley. Anytime anybody gets caught betting, it should be a year. A year, no debate. A year, however it happened, a year. They're not making an example out of Calvin Ridley. They're just saying, hey, this can ruin the integrity of the game, and that's exactly what Roger Goodell says here, folks. Here is the official NFL statement here, and once again, remember the language used here, folks. So here we go. The official statement. Here we go. By the NFL. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell today suspended Calvin Ridley of the Atlanta Falcons indefinitely through at least the conclusion of the 2022 season for betting on NFL games in the 2021 season. The activity took place during a 5-day period in late November 2021 while Ridley was not with the team and was away from the club's facility on the non-football illness list. A league investigation uncovered no evidence indicating any inside information was used or that any game was compromised in any way. So that was fantastic. That's good. That's good to hear. Reassuring to hear. Nor was there evidence suggesting any awareness by coaches, staff, teammates, or other players in his betting activity. In a letter to Ridley notifying him of his suspension, Commissioner Roger Goodell wrote, and once again, listen to the language here, folks. He says, quote, "There is nothing more fundamental to the NFL's success and to the reputation of everyone associated with our league than upholding the integrity of the game." And absolutely, I agree with that 100%, folks. We're talking about the integrity of a game, of an institution, of the highest level of really competition that there may be in the entire sports world besides soccer, obviously. So then upholding the integrity of the game. This is the responsibility of every player, coach, owner, game official, and anyone else employed by the league. Absolutely 100%. It is everybody's responsibility to uphold the integrity of the game. Absolutely 100%. Back to the quote. Quote, "Your actions put the integrity of the game at risk, threaten to damage public confidence in professional football, and potentially undermine the reputation of your fellow players throughout the NFL." Threatened damage to public confidence. Once you lose public confidence, it is game over, and there's really no getting it back, folks. Public confidence, public trust is at risk here, folks. We cannot lose that, folks. Wrestling has lost the public confidence. That's why it's not as big. Is it as big? It may be as big. Maybe it is as big. All these other kind of, leagues branching off, AEW, all this. So is wrestling at an all-time high right now, folks? It may be. But overall, we cannot have threatening to the public confidence here in football, in competition. Once folks, competition, we've been doing competition since the beginning of humanity. It's in our DNA, competition, always competing. The Roman games, the Colosseums were because of competition, folks. We are competition animals. We are a competitive species. And if you ruin the trust of competition, we have nothing as humans. We have nothing as a species, folks. Species. Competition is everything. And if you ruin that, I'll be mad. Folks. I'll be so furious if this all is a sham, folks. Everything I know and love about competition is a sham. I would be devastated. All right, finish up the quote here. Quote, for decades, gambling on NFL games has been considered among the most significant violations of league policy, warranting the most substantial sanction. In your case, I acknowledge and commend you for your promptly reporting for an interview and for admitting your actions. So, hey, you did wrong. You don't own up to it. Once again, this is the off-season of ownership. Hey, Stephen Ross, we're going to get to him in a minute more, folks. But Stephen Ross, let's admit we've done wrong a little bit. Yes. Admitting you've done wrong. All these NFL teams on the Brian Flores statement, oh, everything's categorically false. Never taking ownership for maybe some wrongdoing. Let's admit we can move on. Ridley made petition for reinstatement on or after February 15th, 2023. Pursuant to an NFLPA collective bargaining agreement, he may appeal his suspension by filing a notice within 3 days. I don't know if he has appealed this. I have not read that at the current moment. But that's what it is at the current moment with Calvin Ridley. Suspended for a year for potentially ruining and damaging the integrity of the game. Now, those words by Roger Goodell. Integrity of the league. And once again, let's go back to the official statement. 1 second, folks. Excuse us. Hello?
Hi, Dr. Peterson on St. Paul has picked up.
Okay, copy.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, so once again, the language, the integrity of the game. Let's go back to the official statement put up by Roger Goodell about when the whole Brian Flores situation came to light. Once again, Roger Goodell didn't really kind of 100% direct these comments to Brian Flores, but Brian Flores has that kind of lawsuit, and then like the next day or two, Roger Goodell puts out a statement saying, hey, we can all do better about diversity, equality, inclusion. Yes, little coincidental that it came out, but once again, Roger Goodell doubling down, saying we've done nothing wrong. But here we go. These last two kind of paragraphs here kind of sealed the deal for Roger Goodell. Let's keep the same energy with Stephen Ross. Yes, Calvin Ridley suspended for an entire year. This is the player, but now if we're getting the owner directing losing, let's also kind of keep the integrity of the game in mind and have a tough sanction on Stephen Ross. If it is proved to be true, tough sanctions. And I want more than just Stephen Ross having to kind of be away from the team for a year, because from the ownership to the player, yes, the player should know better, but this is the owner of a team, a little bit more higher place than the player, yes? So here we go. This is what Roger Goodell said in the statement about Brian Flores. He says these two paragraphs. Here we go. We understand the concerns expressed by Coach Flores and others this week. While the legal process moves forward, we will not wait to reassess and modify our strategies to ensure that they are consistent with our values and long-standing commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. In particular, we recognize the need to understand the lived experience of diverse members of the NFL family to ensure that everyone has access to opportunity and is treated with respect and dignity. We also take seriously any issue relating to the integrity of NFL games. These matters will be reviewed thoroughly and independently. We expect that these independent experts will receive full cooperation from everyone associated with the league or any other member club as this work proceeds. There it is, the integrity of the game. Stephen Ross is threatening the entire integrity of the NFL, because if the owners are directing the coach to lose games, and also not just directing them, incentivizing them, hey, 100K every loss, there it is. Hey, you want to lose some games? Hey, kid, you want to lose some games? You want to lose some games, kid? So, yeah. Hey, you're going to suspend Calvin Ridley for an entire year? What do we do with the ownership? You must make him sell the team, because that I would not be a fan if Stephen Ross is still the owner of the Dolphins. We are Dolphins fans over here. If he is still the owner, I would not be a Dolphins fan. That goes against everything that I stand for, that I believe in, about competition and all that. And if the owner is directing the coach to lose games, folks, I am done with that organization until he is fired. So if you're just doing a year suspension for Stephen Ross, that's worse than Calvin Ridley betting on games. This man is actually truly influencing the outcome. Calvin Ridley had no outcome, had no real way to have the outcome of those games change, because he was on the couch in Atlanta. So Roger Goodell, let's keep that same energy. Yes, yes, yes. Man. So Calvin Ridley, I think it's only fair that he was suspended for the year. And now kind of why everybody, there's a lot of kind of arguments why he shouldn't be punished. A lot of people are saying, well, the NFL is making money on betting and they're promoting betting everywhere. Yeah, they're promoting betting for consumers, for the fans. I mean, there's always been betting on sports, folks. Even, when there was no mobile betting, when everything wasn't even legal, you still were not allowed to bet on NFL games. That was always the case. Bookies or just kind of people that you were never even allowed to bet on games just like that. So yes, folks, just because there's mobile betting, just because it's advertised anywhere, the players still can't bet on that, folks. Okay, I don't like that argument really at all. What is the other argument? I think there was another one and I lost it. Damn it. Oh, yeah. The other one. The other argument about the whole year suspension, why people say it's too much because, players getting domestic violence charges, they're only suspended for 2 games. Calvin Ridley suspended for, the entire year. Once again, we can be mad at the NFL's policies on suspensions on other matters. That's a total separate issue, folks. We're talking about the integrity of an entire league, the integrity of a business that is $1 billion industry every single year. We're talking the integrity of competition. It's a little bit different than domestic violence. Yes, domestic violence shouldn't warrant a 2-game suspension, something way more severe. I understand that. So comparing 2-game suspension for domestic violence to a whole year suspension for gambling, it's not the same, folks. So however you slice it, Calvin Ridley, he's got to be suspended, folks. This is potentially ruining the integrity of the game, folks, that we all know and love. An entire day dedicated to one sport, to one industry, folks, football. And if you ruin the integrity of that all goes away. And it can go away just like that, folks. Integrity can be taken away. Public trust can be taken away just like that. I was born into the NFL, folks. The NFL was around way before I was born, folks. This is an institution that plans to continue to be an institution, and they know that they cannot have any doubt in public trust, or the institution collapses, and football as we know it is truly ruined and destroyed. So, Calvin Ridley, suspended a year. I agree. And I agree even more if he was going against our picks. If he was actively watching takes by fans and going against our picks, it should be 2 years for Calvin Ridley for disgracing us, for losing the public trust in us. He's defaming us. I might have to do a lawsuit on Calvin Ridley now. I have to find out what the bets are and see if he went against them, because if he's trashing our name, if he's going around town being, takes by fans doesn't know what they're talking about and betting opposite us, I mean, that's defaming me. I think I have to sue Calvin Ridley. So I'll keep the status of that lawsuit going on our Twitter. I may be going after Calvin Ridley. Alrighty, folks, that's going to do it for us today. We got to get out of here. Aaron Rodgers back with a $153 million new deal. Everybody's saying it's fake. Some people are saying it's fake. Some people are saying it's real. So we'll let the social media detectives figure that out for the day being. We'll come back. We'll talk about it tomorrow. But Aaron Rodgers staying in Green Bay, wanting some more money, but that, once again, categorically false. The NFL said Stephen Ross paying Brian Flores, which categorically false. We'll see, folks. It's going to get interesting. It's going to be an interesting offseason, folks. Alrighty, folks, we got to get out of here. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We're back live tomorrow, noon Eastern.